We do continue looking at the recent release of Monsters Compendium 4 on the D&D Beyond Eldraine. Give me a second here just to check my signal, go through a quick intro, and then we're going to start looking at critters. Hold on real quick. Mic check. Sounds pretty good to me. This is a Twitter-only feed that I've reported on, and you will find links to this document. Let's see. Online. First off the bat, my name is Phil Kearney. Hey, I create role-playing games and I illustrate them, then publish them online. There's a slew of links in the description down below to D&D 5th edition content that I've produced and published on the DMsGuild, including the color mana spell point variant rules that we're going to be. It's built for 5th edition, but in 2024, when they release the new content, we're going to be updating all of these documents to be compliant with 2024 plus. And in that spirit, we have recently gained access to the Monsters Compendium 4 Eldraine monsters that are on the D&D Beyond here, and we've been picking our way through the different critters. And the context of this is, if you check out, hold on, there we go. You can like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney to get notifications when we go live for everything, including little shots like this. So like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers before the end of the year, if at all possible. So if you find this or any of the other content that I produce interesting, please consider subscribing and checking out future feeds as well. So like we have in the description down here, there is a link that is free to access for folks that are interested in this sort of content. The color comparison of the Eldraine Monsters Compendium Volume 4. So there's a link to the YouTube stream that you're on right now. Hey, there's also a link here to the Google Doc that we are currently working on. The Eldraine creatures, which you can find, again, on the Patreon at no cost. So if you want to read along in this process, you are certainly welcome to do so. So here we are with the document that we're actually working on here. I'm going to open these up into separate folders. We have the D&D content here that we're looking at. Our master document here of the 25 different creatures that were created for this compendium. What we're doing is we are taking the ideas that we have for the color mana system, which you can read about extensively in the link down below. There's a ton of free previews, so you can become well related and understand this system if you want to take the time to check it out. But since we have that update in 2024, I wanted to take a look at what the most recent thoughts from the Wizards of the Coast teams that work on D&D and Magic and Magic the Gathering, to see how they're translating MTG cards into creatures, to see if there's any interesting information that we can glean about the content that we can incorporate when we redesign these books next year. So this is kind of a research project that we're doing just to see where they're at. We're about 95% compliance with their color philosophies here, as we've seen in these here. Just for a point of reference, for us to continue, if we go down here and we look at the 5 color mana spell point variant rules, there are a ton of books in this collection that are at a steep 35% discount, a lot of which are actually pay what you want, that you can further reduce the cost of the bundle to grab if you're interested. But this one right up top front, the revised 5 color mana spell list, is probably the piece that you're going to want to pay the most attention to if you dive into these ideas, because this breaks down the aspects of color magic in the D&D frame of game, where you got white, blue, black, red, and green, 5 colors, traditional Magic the Gathering. These are roughly, so far, this is the best translation we have of what the 5, the different aspects of the 5 color are. As you can see here, like white tends to refer to divinity, healing, light, protection, restraint magic, while blue is air-based, illusion, mind, magic, suppressing magic, and water effects. Black is control, entropy, fear, soul, darkness. Red, aggression, earth magic, emotions, energy, impulse. While green magic is generally refers to animals, healing. You can see healing both here in white and green because a lot of themes in Magic the Gathering has things overlapping with each other, which we'll see in the list down below, but animals, healing, plants, nature, and spirit magic in general. And then you have damage types. So here's the 10 types of damage that exist inside of D&D. And here's the white, blue, black, red, green color format. Now, ignoring bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage as just a universal in any color, any kind of character does that sort of damage with weapons or whatever. Like, for example, acid is often seen in black and green magic. Cold, often seen in white, blue, and green magic. While, like, thunder is often seen in blue, red, and green magic. While, like, radiant is white magic. Necrotic is black magic. Force damage, white, blue, and red magic. So there's all these different parallels, and roughly each color in this system, so far we've found to have basically 4 types of energy that are devoted to each color type, which is fantastic. Whether it's perfectly balanced or not, obviously, for example, poison is a rather weak element for blue and green. For black and green, while, say, necrotic damage is pretty good for black. While, like, green, thunder, and cold damage are really good contenders, while acid and poison aren't. I'd say force damage and psychic damage are top tier for white. For blue, black has some of that. Force, red. So, I mean, there's a good mix here of different elements that go with each color that we've been able to basically suss out from Magic cards in past streams and things that we've ran. So if you're looking at the full color list, and this is basically pulling from the player's handbook. If you buy the full bundle that's linked down below, you'll get access to every spell that's been printed for Dungeons & Dragons thus far. But this is breaking down how the colors work in the system. If like, for example, if you pick up, this is a 0 cantrip, so it doesn't actually cost any mana to use these things, but if you're being thematic, for example, Firebolt's a red spell, which makes perfect sense to people that know Magic the Gathering. While Friends is black and red magic also makes a lot of sense. We can tool down here to, like, say, I don't know, 5th level spells, Insect Plague, green, obvious. Legend War, blue, obvious. Mask, Cure Wounds, white and green, very obvious. Some colors have some spells have multiple colors, others don't. If you use the system that we have in the books down below, these are just the automatic colors that spells are devoted to. But you could always research a spell using normal research rules to learn, say, Insect Plague as a black spell or a blue spell if you wanted. And then you could build that narrative for yourself of how that's expressed visually and what kind of a character would want to learn Insect Plague as a different color other than green. Like Boros doesn't have access to green colors, so they only have blue and black. Sorry, Boros has white and red spells. That's it. So they either just pick from the white and red spell list for whatever character class they have access to, or they can spend time, money, or connections to get access to additional spells that are outside the normal white and red motif, and instead, like, say, pick up Mislead as a, like, say, a white spell as a glamour effect that, like, it radiates and it causes you to become starry-eyed as a result of it. So Mislead would lead you to, I think Mislead creates like a phantom copy of your character. So like the white magic could, you could say, pretend that the Mislead, the character that you're created out of illusion magic using white magic is actually using like a divine spirit that is created as a etheric body that is the duplicate of that Mislead spell as opposed to just being an illusion. Effectively, it'd still be an illusion, but using white magic instead of blue magic. So the spell's mechanics don't change other than what color it took to cast it. But by doing so, it curves into the narrative of what your character is. A Golgari character or a Witherbloom character. Both of those are black and green magic, specifically in MTG. So like they would naturally have access to Insect Plague, but Legend Lore, not really. If you wanted to pick that up, like as a Golgari, for instance, if you wanted to go with a green Legend Lore, then the Legend Lore information that you glean about an object, you're basically giving it over to the nature spirits of the world and asking them what experience do they have with this object that you're offering up. Like spirits of the world, tell me of this thing. And then they would express that from a nature spirit sort of perspective, instead of just like data download that blue would provide to you. So it's a fun little narrative system that's easy for you to get other colors onto your spell list if it would normally be here. This is basically self-nerfing for people that recognize that spellcasters have significantly greater power than martial characters do because of how fluid access to their spell list is. If you want to go with narrative limitations of, like, for example, Golgari only having black and green spells, that forces you to operate your character within the black and green spell list, and then give you a reason to want downtime activity to gather more spells that you can put into your color palette, or to go on quests to find to find wizards or whatever that have these spells in a color that they normally don't belong to. So you want to pick that character up as a contact so that you have easy access to doing that. This is all voluntary. You could just use generic spell points or generic spell slots and just pretend that you're casting all the spells you have access to as, like, say, Golgari is black, green, or a mix of that magic narratively without having any kind of mechanical impact on your character. But for people that have been playing D&D for a long time that are recognizing these disparages in power between characters may actually enjoy the challenge of playing inside of their color scheme and finding ways that they can have the campaign build to get them access to more spells as extra quests or side things or hoops to jump through as characters inside the campaign that the DM can build, knowing that you want to have access to legend lore, but you don't have access to blue magic. It's cool to be able to drop little magic items in there, or open up opportunities where you can communicate with a sage or get access to a library that would open up that spell to you. It's just narrative depth that has mechanics that can be attached to it to either increase the challenge of the game for your players or to add a little bit more balance between the different types of characters that are operating inside of the game. So that's the framework that we're using to build this system in the first place. And to get back to the point, since we have the Eldrazi magic creature compendium that they came out with, we get to use these as an opportunity to develop and build what it is that we're exploring. So we're going to do that. Currently, we've gone through. So here at the front end of the document, we're basically doing a quick check to see what the CR versus power and toughness of creatures are. Like, let's go down to our next item on the list to be able to see how these things fold into what we're trying to do here. So there's no guaranteed success here. There's no real game plan other than just looking up the monsters are, giving some feedback about the things that they can do, and then looking at the card and seeing what the card offers that's missing, or what is on the card that has been represented in the information that's on D&D Beyond here, and what's missing from the card that we can create new ideas for that may eventually curve into something that we want to have in the books when we republish them in 2024. That's the idea that we have going on here. So if you guys think that's fun, cool. Thanks a lot for being here. We're going to do this for probably another 45 minutes or so, and then carry on with the day. I will be back on tonight in about 5 or so hours to work on Eberron cartography and creature creation for an Eberron adventure that we're going to be publishing on the DMsGuild. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be back doing more artwork for the Spelljammer supplement that we're publishing. And then at lunchtime, about this time tomorrow, we're going to continue exploring the martial power system, which is also on my Patreon. There's a full playtest document there for all the martial classes from level 1 to 20. We're just going through right now, building out each archetype. So you can check that out too if you're interested. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. If any of this stuff seems cool, stick around, please tag along. We'd love to have you on board. So right now we are looking at the Fairy Pathlighter, which is actually the Tuinvale guide. Hold on, let's go down to we did Fairy Borrower, which is the Brazen Borrower as an MTG card. And like you can see here for the Brazen Borrower, there's a card redirecting us. There we go. So here's the Fairy Rogue. It's a Brazen Borrower. It requires 3 mana overall. Come on, Becto. That's the Japanese version. That's not the version that I need. What you doing, buddy? Thank you. We want the American version. Thanks. Open image. New tab. Brazen Borrower, right? It's got flash, flying. Brazen Borrower can block only creatures with flying. So when we look into that, and we look at translating the Brazen Borrower, we can see the Fairy Borrower has 12 hit points and deals around, 7 damage on a hit. So when we go back up to our playlist here, looking at the Brazen Borrower, it's 12 damage. It's 12 hit points that it takes as a one. Hold on. Looking at the card, it's a 3/1 creature, right? So the 1 is toughness, which is basically hit points and armor class. While the 3 is like attack modifiers and damage. So the 1/1 Brazen Borrower here comes with hit points at 12, and the Borrower comes in at roughly 5 damage, which is significantly less than, say, 17 damage that we saw on the Deathless Rider. So we're trying to see if there's a range of damage and hit points that each of these power and toughnesses scale into over the course of this document. I don't think it's going to curve out smart. I don't think they really consider the power and toughness in comparison, but it's something to look at just to see if there's any patterns that show up. That's the purpose here. So skipping across this card here, let's get back down into here. We have our power and toughness levels. Let's get this out of the way. Right now we want to look at the Fairy Pathlighter, which is here. Is the Fairy Pathlighter. We're going to switch over to Open English and another image to have this here. So the To Unveil Guide is a 2/3 creature. It's a Fairy Scout. It's got flying. It has Celebration, which is To Unveil Guide gets a +1 to their power, and has lifelink as long as 2 or more non-land permanents entered the battlefield under your control this turn. So basically, if you bring more creatures to the battlefield, or if in D&D terms, if you're concentrating on a spell effect, then this creature basically gains bonuses to doing so. So Celebration itself is something worth noting. So I want to go back here and look at Celebration, because that is a piece of interesting mechanics. Celebration equals X number of creature concentration effects active during equals +1 power, which can translate to an extra die of damage, such as we have a general curve of power levels. So we're looking at CR up to 1 equals plus D4. Thank you, Timely Timer. Time for me to take a sip of coffee and reset my clock. 20 minutes. CR 2 to 4 equals plus D6. The D is always undercase. 5 to 8 equals plus D8. CR 9 to 12, 9, 10, 11, 12 equals plus D10. CR 13 plus equals plus D12. That's generally how mechanics curve there. So Celebration would be X number of creatures concentration effects active equals +1 power. So, for example, if we're maintaining concentration on a spell, gain, and what is the CR of this critter? The Fairy Pathlighter is a CR2 creature, so gain plus D6. What kind of damage are you doing? Deals, let's see, radiant damage. So it'd be plus D6 radiant damage. And let's see. So it has at will, dancing lights, detect magic, prestidigitation, and then locate creature. So like while active, while dancing light is active, it gets a plus 2d6. For example, while maintaining dancing lights, the Pathlighter gains plus 1d6 damage when hitting with weapons. Any attack deals an additional 1d6 radiant damage. Period. So there you go. So you'd be able to hype up the damage, deal extra because you have the celebration effect. He's got dancing lights that are going on. While those dancing lights remain in effect, extra d6 damage. Pretty fun ability. It wouldn't necessarily... I could see that being a spell-like effect, but it can't. It'd have to ramp delicately, because +1 power for every extra creature or concentration effect. Another example. If there are 3 Pathlighters in a squad working together. 3 Pathlighters working as a team. If each gains an extra 1d6 radiant damage when they attack the same target, for example. So if 3 creatures all target the same creature, each gains 3d6 extra damage on their attacks. That would be fucking brutal. But it's a really fun way to break things down. Like, that's an interesting encounter. You're seeing that they're dealing a lot more damage between each other when they're attacking the same opponent. So what you would want to do is get them to break it up. Blind one of them, make somebody else invisible so that the fairy have to break up their action economy between different creatures. This would cause those CR2 creatures to ramp up as a group to like a CR5 pretty quickly, just because the amount of extra damage that each one of them would be dealing. I don't know how to balance that offhand. I'm just making the observation that's a thing that you could do. If there's something we can find consistent about this to curve things out with, that would be a pretty cool thing to keep in effect. Or it could be like each creature that's within range of the, or another idea. Each fairy, each fey creature that's in the area of light from a dancing light effect gains plus 1d6. So there you go. If the dancing lights are clustered together, overlapping auras. I don't like the idea of them dealing extra damage per light source, but that's a really fun way to be able to put a limit on these things. Let's switch that to an idea. Another idea for higher level encounters. There you go. There. So that's a fun idea. That's what we could, like, there's no rules for celebration, but that's a really fun mechanic that we could just slap on, and keeping in mind what the spirit of celebration is. Like, that'd be a Rakdos sort of thing, definitely a Feywild sort of thing. Witchlight stuff like space clowns could be having a celebration and do something similar to that. You just pick a magic effect that has an AoE, and any kind of allied creatures that they have inside of that AoE would gain benefit to that extra die depending on the level of the creature that's providing it. So that's a neat idea. Let's look at some other cool little pieces that we can pick out here. Again, we want to look at hit points. Going back here, it's a 2/3 creature. The 3 toughness has 38 hit points. X 38. Fairy Pathlighter. And it's a 2 toughness, or a 2 attack. So something X, Fairy Pathlighter. So the damage that the Pathlighter deals is Shining Strike, melee or range spell, plus d6. Hit, reach 5 feet or 30 feet, 1 target, 7 radiant damage, and if the target is a creature, it must succeed on DC 14 dexterity saving throw or be wreathed in light until the end of the fairy's next turn. While a creature is wreathed in light, attack rolls against the creature have advantage, and that creature can't benefit from... It's basically Fairy Fire, okay? It's a Fairy Fire spell. That's cool. And so Fairy Fire light effect, but its damage is roughly 7 from this ability. Is there another damage source? 30-foot radius of light. Each creature in the fairy's choice starts the turn, gains 5 temporary hit points, and have advantage on saving throws and checks for wisdom. It's bright light, 30 feet, and dispels any darkness 3rd level or below. Okay, that's cool. So it's 7 damage as a power 2 creature. So how does that translate? 7. Which is significantly less than the Dunbarrow Witch that we looked at, which does 35 damage. So, I mean, huge disparity there. I don't think we're going to end up finding any real patterning here, but the effort is still worth the exploration. So let's finish fleshing this guy out real quick. Looking at D&D and TG flavor. So let's see. Weary traveler, follow me. The night is a cage, and my light is the key. That's a great quote. Toonvel guide gets celebration. There you go. We already talked about that, and it has flying. So flying effect. Very blue effect. Most fairy have flight. What else we got going on? Multi-attack and can make 2 shining strike attacks. That's 14 at 30. That's roughly 10 damage, actually. Not just 7. We're assuming a 65% hit chance for all attacks and combine that damage to come up with a rough damage number. Let's see. Bonus light, guiding light. What colors is this guy? He's white. Interesting. Okay. Very blue effect. Most fairy have flight. Traditionally a blue effect. Most fairy have white. This card, however, is... God, it's 4 mana. That's expensive for a card. It's 3 in 1, but it's a stat. It causes a stack of damage. So that's pretty cool. But it's got white. It's white magic only. And if we look back at our scaling here, we know that, for example, Dancing Lights. Where does Dancing Lights sit? Guiding Bolt is a 1st level spell, and that is a white spell. That's appropriate. Let's go look at Dancing Lights. How do we have Dancing Lights built currently? We have it as blue, but we could also easily have Dancing Light as a white effect. So maybe we want to make that alteration. When we update this document, we can go down here and we can look at modifications, color mana revisions, light spells in general can be white. Dancing lights here specifically. Like, that would make sense. I would agree with that. And I know that it's an illusion effect, so I didn't consider it being a light source when we first did this, but that's a great example. What else inside of here real quick? Light is a white spell. That makes sense. So why dancing lights wouldn't be? I'll say that's a shortcoming that we have an opportunity here to improve. Produce flame is automatically a red source. It does emit light, but its main point is red, so that's why we had it as red. But produce flame, perhaps. What else we got? Sacred flame is white and red, so yeah, we could do produce flame is white and red. The damage that produce flame causes is fire damage, which is why we had it sit only in red at the time. But I'm open to looking at that being a white variant spell. Not every spell needs to have every color represented, but if it makes obvious sense to do so, like Burning Hands is fire. It creates, but it doesn't create light specifically. Nor does Color Spray. It's dazzling, but it's a Color Spray doesn't feel like white. It feels more like offensive illusion magic specifically. It's not there to create a light source. So I can see that staying only blue as opposed to adding in other colors. That also just kind of makes sense to me. So I would say Fairy Fire being blue, that makes a lot of sense. The Fairy Fire, I don't believe, actually adds radiance, and the outline effect is more of a blue thing than a white thing. But maybe Fairy Fire equals, what is that effect called? Guiding Light. Maybe white. Yeah, these are things I'm open to. But this is why we're doing this, to see where they're going with it and to see if it jives where we're at, and if it's reasonable to make those changes. Obviously, they think these things should be white. I'm open to it to being white. What is it? Guiding? Is it Guiding Light or is it Gilding Light? What do I have? Guiding Light. Thank you. Fairy Fire effect. Let's see. Dancing Lights. Yeah, spells. Dancing Lights. Prestidigitation. Detect Magic. Equals blue. Equals blue. Equals blue. Easily can be white. See below. But these are cantrips. You're not required to have a cantrip match the color that you're using because it doesn't require any mana. And that is, of all the things, easiest reflavored. You don't need to... you can stay inside your color palette with those spells specifically if you want to, but since they don't actually require any mana to cast, you're able to use them ad nauseum, so the color technically doesn't matter if you don't want it to. But it can. Generally not white. What else you got going on here, buddy? Locate creature equals, it's generally, what's it called? Locate creature? 4th level spell, thank you. So let's go to our master list, down to 4. Locate creature, green spell. There you go. What else you got, buddy? Radiant damage equals white. Yes. Happy with that. So yeah, there's some fun little features here. I don't think I need to change the color coding because Dancing Lights. I think Dancing Lights as white does make a lot of sense. But prestidigitation, low creature, detect magic. Just because a white creature has that doesn't mean it necessarily is a white spell. It just means it's being expressed by this white-based creature. Probably because it's a fae. And because the language of being a pathlighter leading you to things, maybe locate creature makes sense. I'm okay with that. Let's see, is there anything else for us to glean from here? Nope, I think we did most of the... Oh, God, and it has lifelink. Lifelink is... very much a white and black sort of effect. We have Vampiric Touch, which is a 3rd level spell, and that is specifically black. But like Arcane Ward, that's a white-based magic spell or effect, like off of the Abjuration Wizard. You can see that in the book down below. That's for the white mana spellcaster. That's white energy, the Arcane Shield that you create. But what about what is it? God, what is it called? The spell, the Warlock effect that creates the temporary hit point shield. How do we have that listed? Let's see if I can find it. A something. Icy shield thing. Armor of Agathis. Yep, Armor of Agathis. There we go. Armor of Agathis does cold damage, which is where the blue and the green is coming from, and white. I mean, white, blue, and green are all cold damage, which we have here, white, blue, and green. But on top of that, Armor of Agathis, it provides temporary hit points that deals, I believe, radiant damage. Let's go check that out real quick. So, 5e Armor of Agathis. Let's see what the damage type of this actually comes out as. And let's see who comes out on top. Is it going to be Roll20 or is it going to be D&D Beyond? Who is going to prove to be the top? D&D Beyond wins out over Role-Playing RPG, but it's only an article, not the actual spell. Sad Panda. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? It's got to be in here. All right. This is taking too long. Roll20. There you go. Community forums. Ah, you lose too. So sad. So let's go to Roll20. You'll win. Maybe not. Let's go to D&D Beyond. Another 20 minutes left. Higher levels. Damage. Fuck all, dude. All there was complaints about it. How about the actual damn spell? Armor of Agathis. I swear. D&D Beyond is not the most obvious of sources. So let's see. 5 temporary hit points. The creature hits you with melee attack. While you have these hit points, the creature takes 5 cold damage. So cold damage. That's also white, blue, and green. So this is pretty much on curve with the color systems that we have in place so far. So that's cool. The lifelink's appropriate for white or black in general. So I am completely jiving with that curve. So let's drop this out. We're pretty much done with this at this point. Radiance damage, celebration lifelink equals temp HP. Lifelink equals temporary hit points on hit. Lifelink doesn't heal hit points, it bestows temporary hit points. So, and I think that's what it does here in the actual description. Is it present? Did we see that? Yep, yep, and starts its turn with gains 5 temporary hit points and has advantage on wisdom saving throws. That is pretty cool. Generally 5 per rank. Rank 1 equals rank 2 equals rank 3 equals rank 4 equals rank 5, and that's the top cap. Yeah, there you go. That's fun. So the light automatically gives you 5. If you attack something, you'll gain 10. That's how this Fey works. Makes them pretty tough. Baka, 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 baka. Yeah, I think we're good here. At will equals celebration effects. I would call that fairly successful. We got another... How long have we been streaming already? 40 minutes. Okay, great. So let's dip into the Fairy Pest to see it's the Dream Spoilers. Open link in a new tab. And we go to Fairy Pest. So we'll scroll down to Fairy Pest. Here we go. And we know the Fairy Pest is the Dream Spoiler because it's using the same art. So open image in a new tab. Some of the art that is in the Eldraine compendium here doesn't have, that I can find, corresponding MTG card art. And in those cases, we kind of just have to take at face value what they give us. There's a couple examples of this, and I'll show them to you when we get there. But let's see where we are at. The Dream Spoiler is a... Sorry, Fairy Pest, they call it. Is a CR1. And this deals... Theft of Nerves. Mind Muddling Magic. Sting Blade. Deals 6 damage. Plus poison damage. This is a black card. Poison for black. That jives. If the fairy has advantage on the attack roll, it deals an extra 3 slashing damage. So we'll take the... Oh man, not bad. So we'll take the 6 and 9. We'll have it because of iffy circumstances. So that'll be 4.5, and tack that onto, sorry, it's 5 plus 8. That's going to be an extra 4 damage plus the average of 6. 10 damage, 65% equals 6.5, 7 damage. Bonus action, Mischievous Stealth, can take the hide action. Okay. So this is going to average... Is the pest card, is it a 1/1? It's a 2/2. Oh, man. So Fairy Pest. 7 / how many hit points do you have, buddy? 22. So 22. Fairy Pest. Back to here. So Fairy Pest, black energy, deals extra damage on advantage, gained from bonus action hide, deals poison, damage equals very black. Black stealth, darkness. Those are black effects. What else you got going on, buddy? Are you a special card? Nope, you are just you. So it's got flying, which is Fey feature in general. Flying equals Fey in general, but not particularly black. Blue Knight, very blue. But there are plenty of black and white creatures that have flying anyway, so this flying isn't off. There. What else you got going on here? Sting Blade, we already looked through the damage on that. Spellcasting. The fairy casts one of the following spells requiring no material components to do so. Charisma saving throw. Bane, Grease, Blindness, Deafness. Nice. Bane, Grease. So let's go to spells. Bane, Grease, Blindness, Deafness. Equals. Let's go check them out. Bane. Black. Grease. Is Grease also first level? Pretty sure. Yeah. I don't look at Grease a lot. There we go. I think it's red. Oh, no. Yep. Grease is red. That's a red spell. Because it's putting things across the ground, Earth-like. That's the idea that we have here. Earth effect, not particularly black. And then blindness, deafness. It should be a second level spell, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. This is a black effect. This is like a curse. So I'm pretty on board with those in general. Got anything else going on here, buddy? Spellcasting, Theft of Nerves. The fairy unleashes a burst of mind-muddling magic in a 15-foot cone. Each creature makes an intelligence saving throw or is frightened. Nice. Theft of Nerves. That's appropriate. Equals fear effect. Equals very black. So that's on point. We already have like the fear spell itself. I think that's a 4th level spell. Let's traipse up to fear. Fear 3rd level, black and red. Black because of imposing negative type cursed bane conditions, as well as just fear in general. And then fear is an emotional effect, which is the purview of red in general as well. So that fits. We're on point so far. Anything else to say about this guy? Mischievous Stealth. Hide bonus action. Okay. Equals Rogue. Bonus Hide. Equals black, blue effect. In general, rogues generally are either black or blue with maybe a different color replacing one. Like a white blue could be like an investigator. Black blue is very core rogue in general, but like assassin could be like could be black white or black blue or black red or just straight black, for instance. It'd be rare to see a rogue that doesn't have at least some black or blue in their build in general. So it's not a rule. You can have rogues that are in Boros or rogues that are in Selesnya, which is white-green, while Boros is like white-red. You could still have rogues in those. They'd just be an odd outstander, you know? Outlier is the word. But half the fun of narratives is explaining how your character with their colors belong in the guild that they're in or the class that they're using. How does that express the colors that they're using? That's part of the fun of the inferred narrative that goes along with your character. Even if you don't have a backstory for your character, being what they are, speaks a lot about themselves. Like an Orzhov, like a divine sorcerer that's Orzhov, which is white black, but then takes like say Magic Initiate to gain a green spell and a point of green mana, and now has green mixed in. I've had a character like that. That was a divine sorcerer like that, and the backstory was the green mana came from Fey bloodline that was part of the Selesnya guild. So this character was an Orzo Selesnya crossover, which was tainted blood according to the aristocracy of the Orzo Syndicate. But because they were a tax collector for the Orzo Syndicate, they got sent into Selesnya a lot to deal with those outlying farms to collect their tithes. And because this character had green energy in it, she was accepted at face value as somebody that was a part of them, but was still representing the Orzo Syndicate. So dealt more with peaceful relationships and sense of community to be able to collect the tithes instead of just strong-arming people or like foreclosing on their farm or whatever. That's a fun little narrative that gets built into the mana that you choose by the spells that you have. So just a little fun thing there. Is there any additional lessons for us to learn from this before we run out of time today? We still have a few minutes left. What's going on with this card? When you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, up to one target creature an opponent control gains -1. So whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, so like there's counter effects and instant effects that you can use when it's not your turn, kind of like a reaction in D&D. So whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, up to one target creature an opponent control gets a -1/-1. That's just a specific trigger card effect to this. But I think I want to grab up that language here real quick because that's a lot of fun. So this will be the last one that we work on today. We've been able to hammer out about 2 of these per session, and we've got a number of them to go. But it's not about speed. I'm just collecting data. So let's make an at-will effect. And the card reads, whenever you cast a spell during opponent turn, up to one target creature gains -1 / -1. -1/-1 can generally be translated into disadvantage. That's an easy way to exemplify that. But what's another effect? Like another one can be deals necro, or wait a second. The effect is there is no effect. Since it's a CR2 creature, is that correct? It's only CR1. Did I get the damage down for this guy? It's okay, so CR1 is going to be D4. So let's see. Deals D4. Let's see, equals as a reaction, can either grant disadvantage on, that says giant, I want grant disadvantage, let's go with impose disadvantage on target creature attacks. Allies gain advantage to attacking target creature. There. There you go. Choose one. As a reaction, choose one. Impose disadvantage on target creature attacks, including potentially changing a hit to a miss. Potentially changing a miss into a hit. It can see. There you go. No range. It can see. There, card text, blah. There we go. And any color mana revisions that we're learning as a result of this? No, I think we're pretty good with it. I mean, we've already demonstrated we're pretty solid on this and have explanations for the things that are here. Nothing's jumping out at us as that's worth considering again, like the Dancing Lights was. So, and we're down to about, I think we're just about hit an hour now, 56 minutes. So, yeah, I think that's where we're going to stop. Like, we do this about once a week. We hit a couple creatures and we move on. There's only, I think, 25 creatures in the set. So this is going to keep us busy for a couple months. Let's see, we got Gingerbrute, 2. High Fame Imposter. No corresponding card art I can find. That's 3, 4, 5. No corresponding card art I can find. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, we have 18 more of these, which means that we'll be doing this probably for the next couple months. Hey, there's my timer. That's all we have for today. This is what we done. So we added on some more Fae. I really enjoyed this process. I like these creatures in general. I love the cards. I think they're super fun. I think it's really fun translating card mechanics into D&D mechanics. How would you treat Celebration, or what would you do for this this reaction effect for when dealing as during casting spells during an opponent's turn, penalizing target creatures? How would you want to translate that as well yourself? So be welcome to drop a comment in the comments or reach out to me through the Discords. Hit me up on Twitter if you want, if you have ideas, or join my Patreon and jump into the conversation, which is linked down below. So we're just having fun. So check it out. If you like some of this, you want to see some more, some painting as well, like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notification of what we're doing in the future. And we're going to be back in about 5 hours. Yeah, probably about 5 hours for us to do some more artwork tonight for the Eberron adventure that we've been painting for. And so thanks a lot for being here, and I'll see you guys later on tonight. Cheers.